Hello friends, welcome to Gardening Mindfully. I'm Zenith and I hope you're having a truly amazing day. A few months ago I planted some onions, and in this video I'll give you a quick update and also share with you something that I think you'll find really interesting. Here are the onions that we planted together on November 27th, 2023, which is approximately 125 days ago. And aren't they looking fabulous? They are growing really nice and healthy. They are short day or sweet onions and were planted from onion sets. So we did not actually plant onion seeds. We planted short day onions because they grow best in zone 7 and warmer zones, so they are best suited for my zone 8A garden. Sweet onions are typically white onions with a high sugar content and has a mild flavor. You will notice they are growing in full sun and each plant was spaced about 4 inches apart. I also added some straw to retain moisture in the soil. If you have not grown onions before, here are a few things to keep in mind. 1. Onions can be susceptible to changes in temperature. 2. They will not produce bulbs if planted too deeply. 3. They love consistent water. 4. It's important to avoid overcrowding. If planted too deeply or are competing for space, onions will not produce bulbs. And 5, to be successful, plant your onions in full sun in well-draining soil. In this container, you'll notice I'm also growing onions. In addition to growing onions in this container, I also have rosemary, which is back here, and I also have English thyme. So they're all growing and everybody is happy in this container. Now, if you take a closer look at these onions, you will notice something that's very different from the onions that we looked at earlier. I'll zoom in now so you can get a closer look, but let me know, can you spot the difference between the onions that are growing in this container and the onions that are growing in the other 3 containers? Look closely and let me know, can you see the difference? I will also add the link to the video I did on growing onions in containers in the description box below, so be sure to watch that video. Okay guys, so did you notice the difference between the onions that are growing in this container and the onions that we saw in the other 3 containers? The difference is these onions actually started to flower. Here is a closer look at one of the flower buds. In this video, we'll talk about 3 things. 1, what is happening to our onions below the soil surface as it develops flower heads. Secondly, what are the possible causes? What are some of the things that happens or takes place that allows for our onions to develop seed heads? And third, is there anything we can do? Are there any remedies out there? What is it we can do to ensure that we have a successful onion harvest? When our onions begin to develop flower heads or seed heads, that process is called bolting. During the process of bolting, the plant is no longer using its energy to develop the bulb underneath the ground, which is the reason we grow onions. It's instead redirecting its energy to developing seeds. But we're not growing onions for seeds. We are growing onions for the bulbs on the ground. So when we see these sweet, innocent flower heads developing on our onions, it is time for us to stop and pay attention. Now let's talk about what are some of the possible causes or what are some of the possible triggers that will create a condition for our onions to bolt. The first thing that can cause your onions to bolt is over-fertilization. The second condition that can lead to your onions bolting is temperature fluctuations. So one day it's hot, the next day it's cold. Another condition that can create an environment that tells our onion it is time to flower is stress. If you look at this container, you will notice not only do I have onions growing in this container, but I also have 2 rosemary plants and an English thyme. So we have quite a few plants in this one container competing for space, which can lead to the plants being root bound. Inconsistent watering can also lead to stress, telling the plant to quickly flower, to switch its energy to survival, and form flowers for reproduction. So our onions are developing seeds as evidenced by these seed heads. Is the harvest lost? Is there anything we can do? These are questions that we're now pondering. We have 3 basic options when our onions begin to flower. Our first option is to do nothing. By doing nothing, the plant will flower and produce seeds. However, these seeds can be used next season. Our second option is to cut the flower buds just like I'm doing here, or cut the entire bolting stem. What this will do is to allow the plant to stop producing seeds. However, the bulb will not continue to grow, but they can be used for cooking. Our third option is to harvest the onions. Now, bolting onions, if left in the ground too long, may rot, so it's best to harvest and use them right away. Remember, even professional onion growers experience bolting onions. Thanks for joining me. If you have not yet subscribed, kindly subscribe to the channel, like and share this video. Happy gardening and see you in the next video. Bye for now.